Hi everybody, John Cena here and welcome to Season 2, Episode 5 of FunkQuest. And we have two new potential funksters and I think this is going to be quite a good episode. We have Tammy Lynn Guns and Dr. Kimya Dennis on the line. And Tammy, tell me who you are, where you're from.
Hi, well, thank you for having me on your show. I do healthcare consulting and I'm a speaker and I'm from Denver, Colorado.
Fantastic. And Kimya, tell me who you are, where you're from.
All right, so I'm Kimya Nuru Dennis. I am born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. I lived in North Carolina for 17 years and now I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. So I am an educator, a trainer, a researcher, and I do evaluations for equity, justice, and inclusion for schools, companies, and organizations. So it's a lot of tough work and I do that.
Well, like I said, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a good episode. So two people from maybe different backgrounds, but it all makes for a good show. So if you think you are funky enough, these ladies are going to make it look really quite easy. And I know that, but this is harder than it looks. If you think you are funky enough, send me a tweet at JohnSenior1 and we'll see about getting you on the show. And in about 12 or 13 minutes time, one of these funksters is going to be solicited. Well, they're both going to be soliciting votes to go through to the next round. So make sure you have a pen or a piece of paper or something to note down who you think gives you the biggest insight. Remember, we're not talking about something that's going to change your life, although it might. We're looking about an insight, a thing that you might want to look up that, or I'll find out that, or never realize that. That's what we're after. And join in with hashtag FunkQuest. And with that said, let's get on with the show. So let's have a coin toss. So Tammy, you're top of my screen. So I want you to say orange or pink?
Pink.
It's orange. So Kimya, you get to decide to go first or second.
I'll go first.
Go first. So you've got to pick an icon from the first row.
Make sure I'm doing this correctly.
It's very simple. You'll figure it out. It's very simple. You've got to, just tell me an icon. You've got Nixon and Elvis, a Game Boy, Paul Simon, Graceland, and a bowl of fruit.
Okay. All right. That's another aspect of cultural consciousness, right? So I will choose Paul Simon because I love Paul Simon.
Paul Simon, Graceland. Good. Very good. When did you realize you didn't know everything?
Oh my goodness. I realized that when I was in kindergarten, actually. So I realized that because I have two parents, both of whom are Black sociologists. And what they taught us as kids was to always be challenging to the establishment in a way, but be ready to learn something new every single day. And that includes things that make us uncomfortable. So when I got to school in kindergarten, sometimes I was a little smart mouth trying to be a know-it-all. And the good thing is that I had teachers. Mrs Fagin was the Black woman kindergarten teacher, and she was very quick to tell us in a loving way, sit down somewhere and read and learn. So I learned that as a kid, but I get reminded of that daily. And I tell people, keep telling me new stuff. That's exactly what I need, even if it's uncomfortable.
That's FunkyThinkers. What's Mrs Fagin doing now? Is she still around? Is she your...
Yes, I was actually thinking about her a couple of weeks ago. I have no idea because I'm 42 now, so she would be about my parents' age. My parents are 80 and 74, so I have not spoken to her in decades, and I wonder if she's still in Richmond, if she's still alive.
Mrs Fagin, if you're listening to this, or anybody that knows Mrs Fagin,
yes,
we'll get you on the show.
Yes,
right? No problem. We can make it happen. We'll get you on the show. Good.
Thank you.
Tammy, you get the same question, which was, when did you realize you didn't know everything?
Probably the day I was born, because I was going to say kindergarten, but she stole my answer. I think I'm reminded every single day of the vastness of the universe and the vastness of all the knowledge that's out there. And I actually think that this is an amazing realization that you don't know everything, because how boring would that be, right? If you already knew all of the secrets to everything, and then what would, life would be boring. I love that there's always something new. I can wake up every day. There's something I can learn about other people, about other societies, about other, whatever. I mean, politics, anything. I love learning about different things around the world. So I think it's actually an exciting realization that we don't know everything and we never will.
Right. So who was that? That was Kimya went first. Question 2, Tammy, you go first.
Okay, sure. These are very interesting. I think I will actually take the oil rig.
Oil rig. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite word?
Love.
Love.
Mm-hmm. Because the reason why I like the word love is because it's a universal word that can be translated into any language, language of the heart. And, you can love all sorts of things. You can love pizza, or you could love the sun, or you could love a spouse, you could love your children. So it's a word that's pretty dynamic and has many layers to it. But to me, love is the universal language.
Isn't it a word that's kind of been overused and it's just burnt out?
I don't think so, because like I said, I mean, you obviously don't love a truck or love your pizza as much as you love your kids.
True, that's what I mean.
But I think, right, but I don't think so, because I think if everybody loved each other and we are all so kind to each other, there'd be a whole lot less problems in this world. Yeah. So no, I don't think it's overused. I really don't.
Kimya, what's your favorite word?
My favorite word is power. So the work that I do dismantles power differentials. And so it's based on challenging this notion of love, because marginalized people are told that love changes the world. And we have to remember thousands of years of, despite love and happiness for some people, there's still been stolen and abused power that's been misused. So I use the word power for all of my work every single day, whether that's challenging police departments, medical professionals, anything, because it's all about power, regardless of how much people say they love and are kind. It still boils down to measurable outcomes that harm.
You're a criminologist, right? Is that a fair a label for you?
I'm a Black woman, first and foremost, born and raised in the Capital Confederacy, and I became a criminologist and a sociologist. Mm-hmm.
Good. Kind of puts an answer in perspective.
Yep.
Good. All right. So question 3, and it's Kimya to go first. And we got the space shuttle, the Mini Cooper, Great Wall of China, and this rock gentleman.
The rock gentleman. Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you regretted something you said?
Probably, let's see, today's Friday. It's probably Wednesday.
Right, okay.
As a community activist and trainer, the work that I do, I'm very outspoken. And so it's very common for me as an outspoken Black woman, and yes, my Blackness and my womanhood and my disability and all that ties into who I am. So there are times where I'm outspoken and it might reach the wrong audience and be interpreted a certain way. So I would say on Wednesday in a meeting, I said something, and it wasn't that what I said was false. It's more so that there's different messages for different audiences and different environments.
So what did you do? Do you think, oh, darn, was it one of those, or is it you wish you'd gone somewhere else, or what?
So it depends. So when I say something that's completely outright harmful, that's when I take a step back and apologize. But when I just say something that's contextually not in the right place, that's when I just kind of get quiet and I take my message elsewhere.
A good phrase. That is a good phrase.
Yeah, take your message elsewhere. But I mean, so when we say be willing to apologize, I tell people don't be so quick to apologize without knowing why you're apologizing. You know, with the work that I do, you can say something every day that offends somebody. And I tell people, depending on who you're offending, it could be a good thing, but you also don't want to offend people who are your advocates, who are supporting the larger message.
Yeah, good answer. Should say, by the way, that if it's a funky answer, head funkster can give you additional time at his discretion. Tammy, you get the rock gentleman. When was the last time you regretted something you said?
Well, to be perfectly honest, I would say I probably don't know that answer, because I may have said something a minute ago that just offended, you or Kimya. You really don't know. I think I have a really good filter in that I always say, there's things inside my head that I try to play a tape versus having it come out of my mouth, thinking on some level I could be offensive to others because I want to be kind. I think you really can't know the answer to this because I could have hurt somebody, and I don't ever mean to hurt somebody. So I'm trying to get much better about this, throughout my life. Believe me, as a kid, probably everything that came out of my mouth I could have regretted, especially as a little girl. I cringe actually at some of the things I said when I was a teenager to other people. I don't think I liked me. I don't know how anyone else liked me. But I think as an adult now, I have that filter. I have that tape that plays in my head that says, don't say this. It's going to hurt that person. Don't say that. But then again, I'm sure Kimya knows this from her line of work. I mean, you really don't know who you end up offending and for whatever reason, known or unknown.
That is true. I think a lot of people will just throw a few words out and then put them into some kind of order, and that's kind of the wrong way around. Question 4. Who is it first? Tammy first. We've got a hairbrush, a Mohican, a Whoshot JR, and a ZX81 computer.
Okay, let's take the incredibly funky hairstyle.
What will always be in fashion no matter how much time passes?
Jeans. I think jeans are always in fashion. I know sometimes they may either be bell bottom or straight leg or whatever, but jeans themselves, I know a lot of people are moving more towards yoga pants because they seem to be comfortable, but I still think that jeans, because jeans for men don't wear yoga pants. I mean, I know that's probably a universal statement. I'm sure some do, but I just think jeans are throughout time and will always be in fashion. I can remember wearing jeans as a kid, still wear jeans today. So I'm kind of old, so that's kind of a long time period.
I'm just looking what kind of trousers I've got on, and you're right. It's Kimya, same question.
Yeah, so, well, first I want to say it's appropriate to offend the power majority. So when we talk about offending people, that's a good thing. I just wanted to follow up on that when it comes to power dynamics. What will always be in fashion, no matter how much time passes, I'm going to have to take a switch on this question and use the phrase cultural appropriation. So when you call that hairstyle the Mohican or the Mohawk, that's a form of cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
So I think that's something.
Hairstyle, right? It's a hairstyle, right? It doesn't matter what it is. It's what label I put on it rather than what it is.
Well, I mean, so the name of the hairstyle, so when we think about punk rock history, of course, in England and also, people of African descent, when we call the hairstyles Mohicans and Mohawks, that's a reference to Native and Indigenous people. So that's a native reference to Indigenous and Native cultures. That's where those names came from.
We had a lady on the show the other day, Ginger Johnson, and she has one of those haircuts.
Mm-hmm. Really? Cool.
She better not call it a Mohawk or a Mohican.
Well, you better not listen to that episode then.
Okay. All right. So I will say cultural appropriation is a fashion that will never go out of style because unfortunately there are different words used, different styles used that are worded in a certain way that's actually quite harmful to particular groups of people.
Good answer. That's a very funky answer. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Next question. Who is it first? It's you to go first.
I want the scooter because yellow is an awesome color.
What's the oldest thing you own?
Oh my goodness, vinyl. So I come from a family where we collect record players, like old 1940s record players and records, thousands of records. So the oldest thing that I own is a record from like 1940s. It's an old jazz album.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take a photograph and send it to us?
Yeah, I mean, it's so the way we do it, when you have so many records, it stays in an attic and it stays in, binds, and we don't let anyone borrow our records. That's the rule. Don't let anyone borrow because you'll never see it again.
Yeah,
but old records.
Who is the artist?
Who is the artist? So I have old Mahalia Jackson. I have old, now I'm going through the whole list in my mind. Who would be the oldest among those? It really makes me want to go in the box, but if I think of it, I'll let you know.
Yeah, do it. Yeah, take a photograph, send it to us. Tammy, you got the same question, the yellow scooter, the oldest thing that you own.
The oldest thing I own are pictures of my relatives, great-grandparents that migrated to the United States from the Netherlands. And I love them because I look at them and I I like to think about the time that they came here and how brave they were to come to a new world. And I think about what was their life like. And I thank them that they were here because obviously then I'm here. So I love looking at old photographs, and that's what I have. I also keep letters too. I have some letters. Unfortunately, my mom has passed on. I have some letters of hers, which I love because it has her handwriting. So I feel like it has her energy and her essence. So those are the oldest things that I own.
That's history, right? I mean, letters.
Yeah.
You can't go back and read, I'm going to read an email. That's not the same thing.
Right.
Not at all.
What time in history did they set off from the Netherlands?
I would have to go back and verify. It was my great grandparents that came. So I probably, mid 1800s, I think.
Wow, they must have been really,
yeah.
That must have been a real big step.
Mm-hmm. It was. And then, of course, when people came to the United States from, well, at least my relatives, I can't speak for, obviously Kimya comes from, very different background, but they came and then they settled in Wisconsin, and then they would settle in communities. So they still had that community atmosphere. And a lot of times people would settle, together. So you'd have, Polish neighborhoods, or you'd have German neighborhoods, or people from the Netherlands. People tended to come together. Yeah. And so some of that, I love that, because then it's interesting when you look back, when I go back to Wisconsin, because obviously I don't live there. I told you I live in Denver. There's certain restaurants and you go, oh, these were created because of the Germans that came over here. And they have, so I just love that. I think it shows our history. It shows, who came before us. And so I find all that stuff fascinating.
Stuff. Good answer. I like that. Very funky. That's it. So let's find out who won. I don't know. Who do you think was the funkiest lady out of these two, and who is going through to the next round? If you think that Tammy gave you the biggest insights, then send an email to tammy@funkythinkers.com. If you are a Kimya supporter and she gave you some food for thought, and I must say both of these have given me some food for thought, so I can't actually vote, but if I could, I'd probably vote for both of them. No, there's going to be no stupid email list, nothing like that. You'll get one acknowledgement that says thank you, and that's it. Tammy, how can we contact you and find out more about you?
Sure. So I have two ways to contact me. You can certainly go to my website, which is literally it's my name, TammyLynnGuns.com, or you can email me directly. I certainly respond to that, which is same thing. It's TammyLynnGuns@gmail.com.
Fantastic. And Kimya, how can we contact you?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn as Dr. Kimya Nuru Dennis. You can also go to my website, www.kimyandennis.com. So that's KIMYANDENNIS. And then my email address is kimya@kimyandennis.com.
Fantastic. If you're scrabbling around for a pen, don't worry, because we'll link to all those in the show notes. Ladies, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll speak soon.
Thank you so much. Can I put my diversity discuss?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, hold it up. Yeah.
365 diversity, discuss diversity daily. I am not your typical diversity trainer.
I can see that.
I've censored myself during this FunkQuest, but there's so much that I want to say, and maybe next time.
Next time. Well, if you're through to the next round, we can get more of it out and more of the funky.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks so much for making it to the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. I have a few people you might want to share it with. Your partner, your parents, your grandma and granddad, your neighbours, your hairdresser, your tea lady, your gym instructor, your swimming coach, postman, the bin man, your cat, your dog, Father Christmas, Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin, Cristiano Ronaldo.